This is Inside Arkansas Live.
Welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on a picturesque Thursday. I mean, at least in Fayetteville, it does not feel like we are 2 weeks out from Christmas. It's sunny and 60 degrees out here. It's kind of crazy. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis here with you for now. We do expect John Neighbors to join us at some point during the show. They're putting the finishing touches on his internet at his new place, and sounds like he's going to throw it straight into the fire and see how it works. So who knows how that's going to all go down, but we expect to have him here in a little bit. Once again, mid-morning, it kind of felt like, man, this is going to be a day where there's not much to talk about besides Sharon Moore's crash out over there at Michigan. But since then, we've got another staff edition. We've got more portal news for the Razorbacks. We heard from Carter Knox previewing this Texas Tech game. So in the last hour and a half, a lot has happened. We got a lot to get into. And of course, need you guys to bring the heat in the chat like you did yesterday. Appreciate everybody for tuning in with us. Andrew, I'm curious to hear, buddy, how are you doing this fine Thursday afternoon?
Not great, if I'm being 100% honest with you. I'll use the term. I'm not going to go into detail because that's not what tough guys do, and that's not what that's nasty. We'll say I'm under the weather, Curtis. That's the terminology we'll use. Like I said, not going to get into details, but I just want everyone watching to know the bravery that is on display right now for really both of us, because I know you're nursing a little bit of some illness too. That time of year, we're still locked in. There's nothing that some ball talk can't fix.
That's right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, I'm okay. I've just got a little head cold. My biggest thing is I'm coughing my head off. And so like recording the pod at the Palace this morning, it's, you can't talk, and then I can hit the little mute button and cough my lungs out real quick, and nobody knows. So I kept having to hit pause, and it was a 40-minute podcast, and it took me like an hour and 15 to do it. It was kind of weird, but I'm good. I am not dealing with the things that you are, but we will persevere. Sometimes it's when we're at our lowest that we bring our best, and that's what we hope we're going to do today. So let's get into it here with the staff news. And this is very interesting to me, Andrew, that came out, gosh, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes ago, maybe. According to Adam Rittenberg at ESPN, Arkansas is set to hire TJ Rushing as the new cornerbacks coach. And that's very interesting to me, seeing as Arkansas is bringing back Darren Wilson. We talked about that a lot yesterday. And also adding CJ Wilford to coach safety. So that's 3 coaches in the secondary. They've got more coaches than they do players back there at this point. But at any rate, a lot of SEC experience here. He coached safeties at Auburn. He coached DBs at Texas A&M. He was on staff with Ryan Silverfield in 2018 and 2019. So honestly, like without having ever heard his name until like 45 minutes ago, this seems on the surface to be a pretty decent ad for Arkansas.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we keep using that term SEC experience, which I think is the big important thing here. When you're a head coach moving to a different level, you need guys around you who are familiar with that level. And, not like this crazy long resume for Rushing, but was at Auburn, and by the way, he coached safeties this past year at Auburn. Now he's coaching corners, it appears, at Arkansas. You got the 3 coaches there in the secondary. I'm sure they'll figure it out. But yeah, we're getting one step closer to this coaching staff being finalized, and our stance probably remains the same, which is this is a really solid staff. Like, this is a staff that can get a job done, and I look forward to seeing how they do. But of course, there's a very large portion of the fan base that is like waiting on that big splash name. But I think we've all kind of determined at this point, probably not happening, but we'll see what they can do with this staff. And I look forward to hearing from Ron Roberts at some point about some of these guys' roles, some of these guys' background, what he likes about some of these guys, and how that staff is going to operate. And so we'll get to do the whole fall camp. Who's coaching the corners? Who's coaching the safeties? What's going on? But I'm good with this hire as well. And just another guy with SEC experience, which I love that on the defensive side of the ball, literally the entire staff is SEC guys, which is important, I feel like.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, maybe what they meant by spending in the top half of SEC in terms of staff, they were talking about quantity over quality. Like, not that these guys are bad coaches by any means, but they didn't go out and get the splashiest name out there, and they're probably not going to pay some coordinator $2.5 million or something crazy. But you have 3 coaches back there in your secondary. Maybe that's what they're talking about, just having more resources, having more voices in the room and everything. We'll see how it all plays out there. But yeah, interesting nonetheless. With the dual offensive line coaches or the co-line coaches, we were able to kind of figure that out. It's like, all right, maybe somebody's got the outside guys at tackle, somebody's got the interior offensive lineman, or maybe there's somebody that really hones in on, the center spot and the snapping. Okay, fine. We've had 2 defensive backs coaches in the past, and it's worked out okay. 3, I don't know, like you just have one guy who's in charge and the other guys who coach the specifics. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't really care, but I do think that's interesting. Okay, where are we at with this right now? I guess we're waiting to hear something definitive on Morgan Turner, one way or the other on offense. Defense, we're looking at D-line and linebackers. Is that?
Yeah, but I have no idea what Ron Roberts is going to
That's
coach.
true. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, this will be interesting. The thing that I'm kind of the most intrigued with is Arkansas is about to recruit the portal, and there's a very glaring hole in the secondary. They're going to need a ton of guys. Maybe this is something they had in mind where they were like, hey, we might not be able to just hire one. Darren Wilson alone probably isn't going to get it done. We need as many secondary coaches as we can to go out here and attack this portal. And who knows how these guys' roles will evolve and all that. But yeah, I'll be very interested to see if they actually do bring in like a specific D-line linebacker guy. Is Coach O going to coach the D-line? Like, what's going to happen there?
I hope so.
But at this point, yeah, I think we're getting very close. Maybe one more addition on the staff, other than, support staff and stuff like that.
Yeah, and maybe they'll have multiple defensive line coaches. You get the edge rushers, you get the interior guys. Who knows what it's going to look like, man? Nothing would surprise me at this point with what they're doing. You mentioned Ed O, by the way. Have you been seeing some of those clips that are coming out from his interviews with whoever the hell it was?
Yeah, Bussin' with the Boys.
Bussin' with the Boys. Thank you. Sorry, it slipped my mind for a second. That was hilarious, man.
He said, we used to go, NIL used to be done through the back door. Now it's just done through the front door.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see the one where he was talking about they did all this quote unquote work to get this kid eligible or whatever? So they thought he might be a JUCO kid. They got him eligible for D1. And they did all the legwork for him, and everybody else thought he wasn't going to qualify. And then he wound up going to Alabama after they did all that for him. Brutal stuff. His thing about Tommy Tuberville and how they used to go on recruiting trips and they'd have so much money, like $20 between the two of them. They get a case of beer and a 4-piece chicken from KFC, and they'd fight over the white meat. He would always get it, and he would drink 22 of the beers, and Tuberville would get 2 or whatever. So
I love that. I didn't watch the full interview. I just saw kind of 1 or 2 of the clips that came out. But love to see that, man. Is Coach O going to get a job somewhere? Because he's done this like media tour pretty much. He's got to, right? Was that serious where they were talking about with my dog's freaking out right now. Somebody at my door? What's going on? I lost my train of thought. Slim ruined it, man. Oh, with Lane Kiffin. Yeah, I'm sure it's something they're considering, but it's like it would have to be the right role. And I haven't looked at who all Kiffin has hired on his staff, but yeah, I mean that would make way too much sense. And honestly, as a guy who cheers for Arkansas and cheers against LSU, I don't like that. Honestly, I don't like the vibes that would be developing over there at LSU. Yeah, I know that would be kind of interesting there. Who knows? Lane Kiffin might not even stick around at LSU now that new head coach at Alabama
went down with Michigan, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Man, that is crazy. Okay, another thing here that happened this morning. Another portal entry for Arkansas, or an expected portal entry. I guess it doesn't open until January, but Tavion Wallace to the transfer portal. Arkansas's prize recruit from last year's class, notably a Travis Williams special. He seemed to always get like a stud linebacker out of nowhere, and you're like, wow, man, that's a really good ad. I didn't realize that Tavion Wallace played in 9 games this year. I guess a lot of it might have been on special teams or something, but I went and looked at his bio. That kind of surprised me. And again, I'm not going to throw a fit over anyone who enters the portal off this team. We talked about why, but I do feel about Tavion Wallace, Andrew, the same way I did about Shaq McCrory, really, in that this is a young guy, a lot of talent that was probably in line to help you next season or down the road. Seems like he might have been on that Bradley Shaw track. I don't know, but he's out of here. What are your thoughts on Wallace hitting the portal? Yeah, Arkansas had a little bit of a thing going with Travis Williams where you had Brad Spence as like your freshman linebacker with Poopaul and a few other guys as your veterans. And then all of a sudden, Bradley Shaw becomes that freshman as Brad Spence gets a year older. And it seemed like Tavion Wallace was kind of next in line there. I'm also surprised to hear that he played 9 games. I can't imagine many of that was on defense, because I remember seeing young linebackers in the game like a Wyatt Simmons, like a J.J. Shelton, and not seeing Tavion Wallace much at all. And so I wonder how much that factored in of like, like you said, he was a big splash last year on signing day. Arkansas's 2 big splashes, Madden Iamaleava, Tavion Wallace, neither still with the program at this point. So that's interesting. I also have no idea
how much, alleged NIL it took to flip him. I don't know how that factors into the conversation, but I wonder if the emergence of some of those other young linebackers, plus you kind of feel like Bradley Shaw is going to be your guy, and I assume they'll go out and get a veteran in the portal. Maybe he just kind of saw the writing on the wall and was like, man, if I'm not beating out J.J. Shelton, I'm probably not going to play next year.
Yeah. I think that very well could be the case. And it is interesting because you think about him being out of there. Obviously, Xavier Sori and Steven Dix are out of eligibility, which we thought going into the season was going to be like, God, how are they going to replace that? And now some of us are like, thank God that we get to replace that, I guess. Did not go according to plan, but it does seem like they've got some promising stuff in there. I'm with you. They'll probably need to go add some experience, somebody who's done it before, a veteran in there. But I like Bradley Shaw and yeah, Wyatt Simmons. Some of those guys started coming on late in the season, and I'm sure they'll figure it out. But they need to upgrade literally every spot on that defense anyway. And they were going to do that independent of whether Tavion Wallace was still on the roster or not, I would think, at least.
Yeah, I feel like, with O-line, Shaq McCroy being a guy that you miss, that's a position that of course, you always need depth. You always need good O-linemen. Not necessarily a position that Arkansas is in like dire straits in, so it's a little bit easier to process. I would venture to say that way about linebacker. Now, it's not a great group by any means. They're going to have to go out and get guys, but throughout the rest of the defense, compare it to the D-line and compare it to the secondary, linebacker, they at least have a few guys that they would like to play. And so, again, I don't think this is a devastating blow, but it is just kind of, it's always a bummer when you bring in a 4-star, highly talented guy, you flip him on signing day and ends up really not mattering much for you. But yeah, I think it's always these decisions always fascinate me because it's like, if you aren't playing at your previous school and you're entering the portal, what is it that makes you think that you're going to all of a sudden have this crazy good interest? Like a lot of the guys that transferred from Arkansas last year, at least were playing at Arkansas. And so, in Oklahoma, a Texas, a Georgia, or whoever would take a look at them. Like Brad Spence played infinitely more than Tavion Wallace. And so I'll be interested to see where he ends up at. And what those conversations were like. They may have straight up just told him to leave. I don't know. But this is kind of an interesting decision that I have a hard time believing you're going to find a better spot than, top 3 or 4 in an SEC linebacker rotation.
Yeah, I would think so too. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy. I mean, he was a 4-star, and whether it was the top 247 or the top 250, depending on which service you look at and how they qualify those things. But if you're in that category, you're really good. I mean, you're highly coveted as a prospect. He was in all those, man. So he doesn't strike me as a dude that's going to necessarily transfer down and go to a G5 or something and try to prove himself, nor should he after just having a true freshman year in the SEC where not many guys play that much. So yeah, I'm with you. I wonder what that interest is going to look like and where he winds up. He might have already had something in the fire, as soon as Sam Pittman got let go, the tampering began, and like the portal was open and guys didn't enter or whatever, but conversations were had behind the scenes and everything. And then as soon as the new addition was made, I'm sure that the same thing happened again where people are calling. They're like, Ryan Silverfield, I don't know if that's going to work out for you, buddy. Why don't you come play for me? I'm not saying Tavion Wallace is a guy who is getting hit up a bunch for those types of conversations, but it's certainly a thing there. Go ahead.
I was just gonna pull up this chat real quick. That says a lot of guys enter the portal as a negotiating tactic for more money and don't actually leave. This is one of those situations where if I'm Ryan Silverfield and Tavion Wallace is trying to strong arm me into paying him NIL money, I drive him to the airport, frankly. Like this is not a guy, no disrespect. And he's a nice player, a guy we would like to keep, but it's like, if that is what this is, smell ya, I have no interest in playing that game, especially when you have so many spots to fill. I don't love the idea of adding another. I always say I hate adding to your workload, which is what you kind of do with moves like this. But if it's going to cost you money for a guy that wasn't even helping you, that's a tough sell for me.
Yeah, and that's true, man, because just as much as the new coach is coming in and he's trying to win over the locker room and, check all that out and get guys to buy into what he's doing, you kind of have to do the same thing. Like if you want to stick around the program, you got to win over the coach and show him that you're a believer in what he's got going on and the culture and everything. So why is my dog so mad? He never barks anymore. He's freaking out. But I do think there's something to that. And like with Sam Pittman, yeah, maybe if you're Selman Bridges, you could get away with entering the transfer portal and doing the negotiation thing. But hey, you did it the right way. So then you get to turn around and come back. I don't know if that works when you have a staff turnover like that. And he doesn't even know you like that. It's not like Silverfield had been recruiting Tavion Wallace for 2-3 years and had him in practice every day for an entire season or whatever. So it's definitely a little bit different, I think.
For sure. And like, that's a great point though. Like if you're Ryan Silverfield, you're almost looking for a way to get rid of some of these guys, frankly. And I don't think Tavion Wallace is necessarily one of those, but it's like, I don't think he's going to be on his hands and knees begging for too many of these players. We did a show not too long ago kind of detailing all the players they should really make a run at. I think we maybe mentioned Tavion Wallace's name, but he was certainly not a guy of like, got to keep him here at all costs. Like if Bradley Shaw wants to strong arm you, not saying you just give in and pay him whatever, but it's like, that's at least a guy that has shown in his first 2 years, he's clearly on a positive trajectory to being a legit SEC linebacker, which is, what you really need. You're not really in high demand for 210-pound linebackers that did not play.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that's very true. That's very true. All right, folks, we got a lot more to get into, but first got to tell you about our partners over at the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas. You know that your vision is essential to your quality of life, and professional eye care is a must for you and your family. At the Eye Center, every patient receives the best of new vision care technology plus old-fashioned personal attention. They got a lot going on over there, honestly. All the surgery options that you could imagine over there, whether it's cataract surgery or the refractive surgery for patients who are struggling with their readers, glasses, contacts, things like that. They've got availability for the standard eye exams with their new provider, Dr. Rebecca Brown, right now, as well as their other providers available to fit into your schedule. You can even get some of your holiday gifts over there at the Eye Center. I bet you never thought about that. Go to the eye doctor and get somebody a present, but they do Botox, filler, IPL with their aesthetics provider, Dr. Olivia Risch. So buy a treatment in advance for your loved ones. Or for your own holiday present if you're into that kind of thing over there. So schedule an appointment with the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas today, 479-442-2020. That's 479-442-2020. You can also check out their website at www.eyecenternwa.com for more info. Okay. I want to shift gears just for a few minutes here for the basketball sake of things. We got to hear from Carter Knox this morning. And I didn't have time to pull the clips, but I did want to talk about it for a few minutes because this is an interesting game for a guy like Carter Knox because everybody remembers the Sweet 16 from last year, and Arkansas blew that lead. They lose to Texas Tech. Everybody's hearts are broken. And then you have the core four returners coming back for this game. And I said on the pod at the Palace, like those guys are going to downplay what it means to them and everything, that it's not a revenge match or whatever. And that's exactly what Carter did this morning. But it does. You know that they're thinking about that. Like it puts a chip on their shoulder. And then for Carter, it's like, he's a guy who that was probably, unless I'm forgetting something, the best game he's played as a Razorback. The biggest stage, he had 20 points. He hit 4 threes, a clutch shot late in the game. He was dominating early, finishing around the rim. I thought he looked unbelievable in that game. We haven't seen that guy since. And he has been struggling here of late. Now, he's had a couple double-doubles mixed in there. I think his stat line, it's not what we thought it would be, but even that is a little bit deceiving because he's kind of beat up on some of the cans. But in Arkansas's 3 big games this year, he's averaging under 3 points per game. Like he's kind of been struggling out there. I posed this question, our Alumni Hall question of the day, if you will, because this is such an interesting game for these 4 returners. And Texas Tech has got some really important pieces who are coming back as well. Obviously, the coach. And I just threw it out there on Twitter. Which Razorback returner do you most want to see have a big game in this grudge match? You think about where these guys are at in this season, how it went for them in that game last year. Obviously, the choice is DJ Wagner, Carter Knox, Billy Richmond, and Trevin Brazil. Before I give you the results, which I'm a little bit surprised by, but not too much, who do you want to see out of that Razorback core have a big game in this matchup against Texas Tech?
It's Carter Knox, without a doubt. That was who I voted for. At the time I voted, he was winning the vote. Did he end up winning the vote, I would assume?
He did. Yeah, he did.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Carter Knox, man. You mentioned it, and Cal did the same bit where he showed Malik Ewan footage of him at FSU last year and was like, hey, where's this guy? This is who we need. He did the same thing for DJ Wagner and Carter Knox, who were great for Arkansas in the NCAA tournament, had some huge moments and some huge matchups. It's like, if you can perform there, you can perform on a random 11 a.m. on Saturday in Dallas. You can perform in really all these matchups. If you're a real basketball connoisseur, like I know you and I are, we always talk going into these matchups of like, Cam Boozer, the best player on Duke versus Arkansas's best players. They're freshmen and all that. And certainly that's an example of a matchup where that was determined by the best player. About 90% of basketball games end up being determined by the role guys, which is why home court advantage matters so much, not for your stars, for your role players who shoot 6 spot-up threes. The muscle memory is better there. The vision's better. The depth perception, they're more comfortable at home. That's where that home court advantage typically comes from. And if you watch NBA playoff series that go 7 games, every single game comes down to whose role players make those big plays. And that may sound disrespectful to call Carter Knox a role player. And hey, maybe he proves me wrong and he becomes a real go-to force for Arkansas, like he is capable of being. But Carter's not one of those guys that you're going into matchups saying, hey, we're gonna draw up 12 possessions for you, buddy, and you're gonna have to go to work. He's one of those guys that gets it throughout the flow of the offense. And like those are the guys, hitting that 3 when they are really focused on Malik Thomas, hitting that spot up 3 or cutting baseline and getting that easy dunk. Like he needs to be that guy making those in-between plays in a matchup that's likely going to come down to the wire. I mean, all the metrics, every number you can find points to this being a 1 or 2 point game. You're going to need guys like Carter Knox to be a huge variable in your direction if you're Arkansas. Honestly, Curtis, you mentioned the Texas Tech game last year being his best game. It was his best first half for sure.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, he was a complete no-show, which is when Arkansas completely blew their lead, which, I'm not blaming Carter Knox, but it's like these guys, these secondary guys, and I think Trevin Brazile is kind of on that fringe of being a go-to guy and a role guy, but it's like Carter Knox, DJ Wagner, Trevin Brazile, not only are the guys that have experience in this matchup, they're also the guys that I feel like are the biggest swing variables in this game.
Yeah, I think so. And it's it's interesting to me with Carter, because was it before that game or was it before the St. John's game? I don't want to get this wrong. When he did the kill celebrate,
I'm sure it was the Texas Tech game.
I thought so too. I thought it was when we were in San Francisco, and like that's kind of that killer instinct that we've been waiting to see come out of him a little bit. But you said you don't want to disrespect him or whatever, it kind of calling him a role player, but that's kind of what he's been, to your point there, because I thought about this on the pod earlier today, and it's like, okay, we were all expecting Carter to take that big sophomore leap. Like he probably could have got drafted 2nd round or whatever last year. And you thought, okay, he comes back. He's got a year under his belt. He got off to such a rough start as a true freshman. Not going to have to deal with that. He's going to improve as a player. And boy, he might be the alpha hog, but it's not like he was that last year. Even when it clicked for him, he was a role player. He was at best, 3rd option out there, because it was Nelly and DJ who were doing all the dirty work in there. TB came on late and was a big part of it. Before that, it was Adu who was a big go-to guy for him.
Boogie.
Jonas got healthy. They were dumping it inside to him. Yeah, it was Boogie beforehand. It was never Carter who was the guy. So part of me was like, man, it's got to be a tough adjustment for him to, learn how to take a secondary role with these 2 dynamic freshmen and everything. Well, honestly, it really shouldn't be, because that's exactly what he did last year. In fact, that should be his comfort zone. So maybe he will settle into that. I know it's not an easy thing to settle into a role when you had expectations the way that you did. And maybe it was unfair of people like me and us to put that on him, but doesn't mean that he can't be a huge impact player for this team and help his draft stock in the process. He doesn't have to be Arkansas's leading scorer, leading shot taker, go-to ISO guy in crunch time to do those things. So I think you're onto something there. I actually voted for DJ Wagner in this one. And the reason I did it, now I think him and Carter are kind of in similar situations in terms of trying to figure out exactly who they are on this team. I think DJ is further along in that process. He's been looking better to me as of late. Both of them are coming off good second halves against Fresno State. But I think about that aspect of it, of him wanting to really kind of get himself established on this team. But I also think about how it ended last year on Texas Tech, where the end of regulation, the end of overtime, it was the ball in DJ's hands and he was unable to convert. So if that loss, it's going to sting for all of them. But if it really sticks in anybody's crawl, I'd have to imagine it's DJ. So I think about, would it be as cool, for him to pop off and they beat Texas Tech in December as it, was for Texas Tech to beat you in the Sweet 16? No, but it would be a level of vindication for him that I would like to see him have, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, I think this matchup ultimately is going to end up being, can Arkansas's backcourt outscore JT Toppin? Like that's ultimately in a nutshell what this is going to come down to. So I like the case for DJ there. I also think you can make a case for Trevin, frankly. We saw in the Cam Boozer matchup, maybe Arkansas should have tried some more things, but like they were kind of content to let their big men one-on-one guard a guy in the post, which, whenever they score, it's always easy to be like, you moron. But, it's one of those things where they kind of banked on, hey, Cam Boozer can't beat us by himself. And he kind of did. He got a little bit of help there. I wonder if Arkansas is going to go into this matchup with that same kind of mentality of like, hey, we're just going to let Trevin and Nick Pringle guard this guy one-on-one. He's going to get his. He's going to make his shots here and there. But, like, if their entire offense is everyone standing around and him attacking one-on-one matchups, that's probably a worse brand of basketball for Texas Tech to be playing, despite how good JT Toppin is. Like, make no mistake, the dude's dominant. I have close to zero doubt that he is going to get his in this game. Like, he's going to score at least 20. He's going to have a lot of post opportunities. But I think that's a game that, hey, if you're trading 2 for 3, and if you're able to get out and run and impose your will offensively, if you, especially like say you're up by 8 with 6 minutes left, it becomes really hard as the team down to like run the ball through the post constantly. You know what I mean? Like that becomes a little bit of an issue. And so it's going to be very interesting to see the mental gymnastics of, and I'm sure Arkansas is going to have some different wrinkles of how they attack Toppin as well, which I also look forward to seeing TB have his hand in.
Yeah, me too, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they start Pringle on him. I mean, like if they started Pringle on Boozer, I would feel even better about that with Toppin. Now he's versatile too, but not at the level that Boozer is there. And I actually think that Texas Tech center, the VCU transfer, is a better matchup for TB than Patrick Ngumba was. But TB is going to guard him throughout the flow of the game for sure. They're both going to have their hand in that. I'm just thinking if you're going to leave a post player on an island like they did with Boozer, I would rather it be Pringle than I would TB. Like I love TB. And he's improved a lot there, but Toppin's an All-American, man. We saw that last year, actually. So I don't know how much I really want to see that again. Although that was part of the motivation for Trevin going into the offseason. Like he went and added 10 pounds of muscle to his frame. He's playing with a more physical mindset, more toughness. So I'm sure he's going to be motivated in that one as well. I think Malik Ewan, I know we're talking about the returners, and I do want to bring up Billy before we move on, because he's kind of the guy that everybody forgets was even at that game against Texas Tech last year. But I think Malik Ewan's a big X factor in this one because they rely so heavily, Texas Tech does, on those two guys. Christian Anderson's playing 38 minutes a game, and JT Toppin's playing like 35 minutes a game, and they have nothing behind either one of them, literally nothing. So if you contain one of them or you get one of them in foul trouble, you're in a real good spot when it comes to winning the game. I think if you get an early foul on Toppin, he might stop playing defense, because he knows he can't afford to pick up another one. And Ewan strikes me as the best guy to be able to draw those. He's got such a knack for that I hope when he comes in the game, if Toppin's on him, dump it in there to him right away and let him go to work. He might block his shot a couple times like he did Jonas Adu at the beginning of that game last year. But I thought the idea of, hey, let's dump it down there and make this dude defend and see if we can get a whistle on him is probably a pretty good idea.
Well, basketball players are experts at finding rest within the game while you're on the court. If you give these guys opportunities to do it, and hey, we have several guys on our team that if they get an opportunity to kind of just stand in the corner on defense and not really rotate, not really have to guard, like they take it and they should take it. You can't give him that opportunity because playing 38 minutes, that alone, you always see the number and you're like, oh man, how's he going to hold up 38 minutes? Well, it's like, well, if he's, standing in the corner and just kind of, playing a zone and not really moving much on defense, and then he's just scoring from the post on offense, like that he can play that type of style for 50 minutes, but if you're really making him work, and that's why Ewan and Trevin on the other end, not to disrespect Pringle, but I feel like if you were going to make JT Toppin work and really have to like hunker down and move his feet, those would be the two guys. And so what will Arkansas do? Will they start dumping it into the post? That could be interesting.
Would be really interesting. And I was looking back at last year's box score. The game went to overtime. The Christian Anderson kid, and he had a big game in that. I think he had 22 in that game against Arkansas, but the dude played 44 minutes and 7 seconds of a 45-minute basketball game. So you see him playing 38 minutes a night now, and it's like, okay, not one game he's played fewer than 35 minutes in this season. It's kind of crazy. Before we move on, Billy, by the way, let me give you the responses to this poll here. I kind of thought that Carter would win, especially since he's the one that we got to talk to today, but I didn't think it would be this lopsided. But Carter won 55% of the vote. Okay. Trevin was in second, 21% of the vote, which makes sense. Because I also think about with Trevin, it's like, okay, kind of your natural matchup with JT Toppin. And also the thing that sticks out the most to me from that Texas Tech game, it wasn't the collapse for Arkansas. It was what started it, which is that possession where Texas Tech got 5 offensive rebounds in a row and got the bucket. And then you were defending for like 4 minutes of real time because you couldn't get a defensive rebound. And that was crazy. So I could see that. DJ was only 15%. I just thought DJ was going to have a higher percentage because he was the guy missing the shots at the end of the game. And I know a lot of people are like, well, why was it him? Why didn't he get to Nelly? Why didn't he kick it to Carter? What the hell? People were real upset about that. Why did Cal put it in his hands? So I just thought he would have more of the vote. But then Billy, 9%. And I went back and looked, and Billy only played 15 minutes in that game. If I recall correctly, he hit his head or he got banged up early. I remember him coming out of the game shortly after going in, and he was getting looked over a lot by the trainer. So I don't think he was 100% in that one. But I almost forget that he was even out there. And honestly, Arkansas wouldn't even made it to that point if it wasn't for what Billy did against St. John's, the week before to get him over the hump there. But of anyone who would like hold a grudge and find a reason to take something personal and be extra motivated for something like this, I mean, it would be Billy Richmond.
Yeah. I also remember, this is the game that Adu Thero, how many minutes did he play in this game? Like 8?
Oh gosh, not even that many. Yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5. Yeah, I think Boogie played like 8.
Boogie played in this game as well, which, Boogie, we respect him for making an effort, but like that was a weird context that I kind of forget about sometimes. And I feel like it gets swept under the rug of like Arkansas lost to Texas Tech, but it was kind of a weird, and what was Arkansas supposed to do? Not play the guys that were healthy and ready to play? Like he kind of had to try it. But I wonder if that maybe affected some of the rhythm too. You mentioned Billy going out there, but yeah. And Billy's he's a primetime case of a role player that can completely swing a game in your favor on any given night. He's done it several times in his career. He's going to do it several more times. I mean, think of some of Arkansas's biggest NCAA tournament wins. There's a lot of role players that make huge plays, most notably Devontae Davis. It's like there's always those guys that you don't go into the matchup being like, all right, Billy, we need 15, but he's a guy that can absolutely, and I hope he's very motivated. I certainly hope this Razorback team is motivated from a rebounding standpoint.
Yeah, me too. And that's that is one thing that Carter did say. He was asked, like, what has Coach Cal really been preaching to you guys throughout this week? Because they've had a full week of prep for this. And he said defense and rebounding. And they've been better. I know they lost the rebounding battle to Fresno State, but that was one of those games where they just packed the paint. You couldn't even get in there. That's why Trevin got so pissed at that kid because they were turning and boxing out in there like crazy. But I went back and looked because the other aspect of this is you're playing in Dallas. You're playing at the American Airlines Center. Arkansas did play there last year against Baylor, and that was that weird game, which I mentioned it on the show this morning, but nobody came to play except for Billy. Like he came in off the bench, and that was kind of his first introduction to Razorback fans of, oh, like this dude's different, man. His energy, he's flying around. He got mad at the Baylor player and like threw the ball at him, and that kind of sparked the team to get going a little bit. But I always wonder, like, okay, well, how did they shoot in there? You always think about that kind of stuff. And so as I'm looking at the box score right now, DJ he had 8 points. He was 4 of 10 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. Carter only played 10 minutes. That's how bad he was early last year. He only played 10 minutes in this game, scoreless, and he was 0 of 3 from the field. Trevin played 22 minutes. That's when he was 2 of 3 TB. And so that's all he had going on there. He had 4 points in the basketball game. Billy, despite the effort that he gave there early, only played 12 minutes, 1 of 1 from the field. He was 2 of 2 at the free throw line. He had 4 points. So it's not like any of those guys from last year balled out in there or whatever, but I am going to be really interested to see it. I know we've talked about it the last couple of days, but what is it going to look like in terms of the atmosphere? That's one thing, Carter, you can tell that game against Louisville, that meant a lot to the players. And we've talked about it. Like we kind of heard some things behind the scenes, not that they're like, oh, we're mad at the fans or whatever, but maybe a little bit of disappointment. And man, like, what do we got to do to get folks in here because they're not really showing up for these low majors or whatever. I think they really, really appreciated that crowd against Louisville. And I know they did, like in Chicago against Duke was one that, caught a lot of attention there. So Carter even said, like, one thing that he remembered about that game in Dallas, like there were a bunch of Razorback fans and it was loud. At times there when they were rolling, it felt like a game at Bud, all the cliche things you want to say. But I do remember being in there. And it was a pretty decent split between Arkansas and Baylor, and it was freaking loud in there. And I would imagine that folks are going to show up for this one, and it should be a pretty sick atmosphere. Like I'm really looking forward to getting over there.
Well, do you remember this time last year, we were having a lot of conversations about, is there really this strong connection between the fan base and the team? Like, have we all really bought in and loved these guys yet? But I remember us being in Providence and running into some Razorback fans, and that's what they spoke about was, oh, man, I remember being in Madison Square Garden, watching them beat Michigan. Like, these are big moments that shape that love between the fans and the team. And last year there were a lot of missed opportunities. I mean, they won in Madison Square Garden, but you missed an opportunity there in Dallas. You missed your Thanksgiving Day opportunity in a big way. It took them a while to get going on SEC play. Like, it was kind of a delayed falling in love with process that I don't necessarily think applies this year. And you mentioned how big the Louisville game is. That certainly didn't hurt, And so if you win this game, all of a sudden you have, dare I say, Uncle Mo might be a Fayetteville resident at that point. You have a little bit of momentum. You're moving downhill a little bit, and I think your fans can feel that, and the players can feel it when the fans, start to really fall in love with them and get behind them. And so I think it's cool to compare and contrast, because like this time last year, we had so many questions, and we were frustrated with so many different things. And not that we're not frustrated still now, but I do think that going into SEC play this year, it's night and day compared to how the fan base feels about the team, and this game could certainly help that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, folks, you know what that was? That was a solid basketball segment right there. I know some people have been itching for that. That felt good, man. That felt real good. It was like Pot at the Palace post game, just full throttle right there. That's good stuff. We are going to get into your chats, folks, but first, y'all hungry? Have you had lunch yet? If you haven't, maybe you should go check out Blue Ember Smokehouse. Chances are, if you're in the state of Arkansas, there's one nearby. They've got 6 locations: Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Rogers. Maybe you can't get out there for lunch today, but you can check out their great deals this holiday season to feed the whole family and loved ones. They got whole turkeys that feed 18 to 20 for $69.95, turkey breast that feeds 12 to 14 for $54.95, and a whole ham that feeds 18 to 20 for $65. All the side options as well: half pan, full pan. They've got mac and cheese, green beans, potato salad, baked beans, sweet potato casserole. We were there before the Louisville game. I guess that means we won't be back until whatever the first Wednesday is in January. But I'm kind of ready to get back over there because it's really, really good. You see the numbers on your screen for your local location. You can also check out their website, www.blueembersmokehouse.com. Thank you for supporting your local Blue Ember Smokehouse. I need to get back over there and get some of that grub, man. Let's get into the chat. See how everybody's doing today. It seems like a pretty, I don't know, I've got good vibes, I feel like, coming from the chat today. I feel like people are in a good mood. Excited about this basketball game. Excited about Christmas. We're 2 weeks away from Christmas. You're a big Christmas guy, right? Like this.
Love Christmas.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the greatest.
Yeah. Christmas is solid. Okay. Let's see. I know we got a handful of super chats. We'll get to those and then we'll hop in here and see what everybody else has got going on. JT Hazelwood, what's up, buddy? Member for 3 months. He said 3 months as a member, but I'm inside you forever, like Sharon Moore. Woo.
Should we wait until heavy hitters to do the Sharon Moore thing?
I think we should, and I'm also like tentatively waiting on John if and when he's able to join us. So we will hold off on that
for sure.
Yes, we will talk about that. Holy cow, crazy! I mean, it's one thing to get fired for cause. It's one thing for like the inappropriate relationship. We've seen that, but man, everything else, like the layers that keep getting peeled back from this, and the arrest and all that, like holy cow! And then it's. What would we say? Is that the second biggest job to open this carousel season? Third at worst? LSU in Florida?
Yeah, and it's just weird, the timing of it, too, because it's like, you would think like any given moment, Michigan job open, everyone's ready to do it, but it's like, I don't know if there's many people, dying to go to Michigan right now in the middle of, the early signing period's already happened. I mean, I guess it's still portal season hasn't opened yet, and it's such a good job, but that's going to be very interesting.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. I'm seeing a theme here in our super chats. William F. Pig says Jessica Terrell over Paige Sheaver. No comment.
This is William F. Pig off to a great start for his big date this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy some of the parallels there, but good grief, man. You just can't do that. Hickory Hog 94, we appreciate you. Says, Curtis, I have thoughts. Elmer Zavich has 5 free fouls. Why not make Toppin earn his first 5 shots, set the tone, hashtag Big E to the starting 5. I love this. Beat him up. Go in there and beat him up. One of the things I talked about this morning, one of the biggest keys to the game for me, it's, if I'm Nick Pringle and I'm guarding JT Toppin, the only thing I care about is boxing him out. Like, you cannot have that dude grabbing 6, 7, 8, 9 offensive rebounds, and he's capable of doing that. You see, I started with 6'7". I realized what I was doing. I was like
notice.
8'9". We're not doing this crap anymore. But you can't have that. And so box that dude out, put a body on him, and I don't even care if Pringle goes for the rebound. It just Toppin doesn't get it. Now, the other thing about that is no and ones. You cannot have the and ones with this dude. He's a 50% free throw shooter. So if you're going to send him to the line, send him for 2 because he's only going to make one of them. Don't send him up there after he's already got 2 points. And hard fouls are good to come by. You don't want to get in foul trouble, obviously, if you're Arkansas, but at the same time, they're not going to put Elmer in there to do this, by the way. We all know that. But I like the idea of getting rough with him. No easy ones for JT Toppin. Hey, if he makes a nice, over the left shoulder jump hook or whatever, and he scores on you, so be it. But no easy ones, no wrist slaps where it's just the easiest and one in the world. Nothing gets under my skin more than that. And it's definitely something that that Arkansas has been guilty of in the past. They did that with Boozer quite a bit. Not necessarily Pringle, but like TB, just kind of slapping him on the elbow. And it's like, I could have finished through that, man. If you're going to foul the dude, foul him,
Yeah, let's have Elmer Zaffage get ejected for targeting 3 minutes into the game. That's my goal.
Yes. No, that's exactly right. Okay, let's see. What else do we have going on in the chat here? I think we're going to have John with us here in a few moments. Tucker Juristock, what's up? Says, any chance the DB brothers that transferred to Michigan might return to Arkansas? Talking about the Metcalf bros.
I mean,
probably not.
I wouldn't imagine so. I mean, it's always tough whenever you have a staff change. Who knows? Because like if Sam Pittman were still the head coach, I would feel confident for you saying absolutely not. And TJ, by the way, might cost a pretty penny, but I mean, it's worth the phone call, man. Arkansas needs as much help as they can in the secondary. Might as well make the call. I don't know how much they, loved playing for Darren Wilson or not, but it's worth the call. But yeah, we have no way of knowing that. I mean, literally 24 hours ago, we had no idea the Michigan head coach was going to get arrested and fired, for cause. So we'll see how that plays out. I imagine if that's a possibility, we'll start hearing about it pretty soon.
Yeah, I would think so. That's interesting for sure. I wonder what that quarterback's going to do if he gets out of there. Bryce,
the $12 million man.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll go back to LSU.
Yeah, who knows? Interesting stuff. Oh, there's a thought right there. We'll see. Okay, we've got Brown Bag Hog. Wow. It says, my 6-year-old absolutely loves this show. Keep up the great work, fellas. Well, I like to hear that.
That's our target audience for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been kind of missing the mark because it's really a lot of, retired women, which, hey, we appreciate that too. Love it. Absolutely love it. But yeah, if we can dip into the younger demographic, then sure, why not? Let's see here. There was one in particular that I wanted to pull up before we do. Here it is. William F. Pig says Slim should just permanently replace John. I got bad news for you, folks. John's here. John's in. Slim is out, and that's okay. See if we can.
Sorry.
Oh,
getting closer.
Boom, there we go. Okay, we did it. John.
Hey, never buddy. Never move. Just it was a nightmare. No, appreciate it. It's like just the internet finally got hooked up because, I've always felt like internet is just a switch you can push. It's just like, oh, you just flip the switch and you have internet. It's like, no, apparently it's a lot longer of a process, but either way, I got it done. Apparently I got a cable that's going in front of everyone's driveway across the streets. I'm sure they're going to really love me for that here soon. So yeah, it's been great, but the internet's fixed, and appreciate everybody's patience with me. Sorry to come in and ruin the show though. I was listening to it. It was you guys had a great flow going on.
No, you didn't ruin anything, man. By the way, I want to talk about your background for a second here. What's going on above your head?
It's a TV.
Television screen right there. I like that, man.
I know. And it was one of those things to where I mounted the TV, and I was doing that while Jethro was here doing the hooking up the internet and everything.
Was Homer with him or no?
No, Homer was on the call though. He was back at the main station. But so I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and hook up my backdrop and everything. Then I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? When we do our show, my backdrop's like that small. I can't really see much. So it's a much bigger deal, but all you can see is this part. So yeah, trying to, upgrade the professionalism and top qualities that is going on. But well, I hate that it happened where you guys are feeling under the weather and on the struggle bus. So, but yeah, I'm feeling good. Knock on wood. So,
we're glad you're here, man. And it sounds good, looks good. it's funny you mentioned the like the wire going, across the street and everything like that. When they came and did my internet a few weeks ago, I guess we didn't have, they call it a flower pot, but it's like the specific internet box for everyone's house. And there's just like one on our block. So this dude ran like, 100 feet worth of cable from my wall, like right across people's yards and driveways and everything. And then they had to come back and bury it all. And I was like, dude, because like my neighbors are big on their yard. Like it's always kept up real nice and they're always out there working on it. I was like, God, man, they're going to be digging up their yard. It's going to look bad. They're going to be mad at me. I got to give them credit. They did a really good job. You couldn't even tell. So I was thankful for that. But for the longest here, I was just like, man, somebody could, like a wire could get frayed out there. I don't even know I'm hardwired in. Is this going to work? It's very stressful, but it's not so much anymore. So
yeah, well, good. Well, so did I miss anything cool? Like anything going on since I've been gone past couple of days? Anything of note?
There's been a lot going on, man. We finished talking about Tavian Wallace hitting the transfer portal. This new guy that's going to be like the 15th coach in the secondary that Arkansas football has. We did like 25-minute segment on basketball. We're getting through it here. So
yeah. Well, I'll say this as far as the the coaching hires that I try to keep up with the past couple of days. It is funny because you went from 2 offensive line coaches. Now you're going to have, I guess, a safeties and a cornerbacks coach too. I could correct me if I'm wrong. You can only have 10 full-time like coaches, right? Like that's the rule.
Oh yeah, maybe so. I don't remember what the rule is. 10 sounds
where
right.
Where are they at now? 7, 8?
I mean, they're getting close. They have to be getting close to it because you think about it, they already got, this is all reported, but you got the special teams coach in Lunsford's already been hired. They're starting to put things together there too. So who knows? Maybe it'll be like one of those deals to where some of these guys are analysts, or maybe they're just like making fun of the NCAA. They're like, hey, we're going to hire as many full-time coaches as we want, and you can do whatever you want to us. I don't really know, but I know it keeps getting brought up as far as, are people blown away by the coaching hires? Are they blown away? My thing is I'm like, hey, listen, you got some guys that familiarity, you got some guys that are SEC coaches. Let's just see what the players actually look like. But I was bummed to see Tavian Wallace transfer out. Because again, I was listening to you guys. I was shocked too that he played as much as he did this year because I do not remember him at all, like at all. So, but that was interesting. It was unfortunate, but at the same time, it's like when this transfer portal actually hits and they start adding in the additions and everything, it could end up being, hey, you got a what do they call it, a surplus maybe, or maybe collecting revenue, however you want to put it, profit, where you actually end up getting better from that. So. I don't know. I just do laugh because I've tried to, see as much reaction as possible. Some people, if a coach gets hired or whatever, it's just immediate, like, this is crap, sucks. Like, we're going to be 2-10. Here we come. It's like, my goodness. Like, we don't even know who's on this roster yet. So, cracks me up though. But I've enjoyed it, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend too with the Dallas game. Oh man, I know you guys are as well. So hopefully you each get your vitamin C in and feel great to go down there in Dallas.
No kidding, man. Well, hey, you have to answer. I know you already voted, but our Alumni Hall question of the day, the grudge match for Arkansas means a little bit more for the 4 returners. Which one of those guys do you want to see have the big game? Like, who do you think deserves the revenge the most of Arkansas's returners? Carter, Billy, DJ, and TB.
Okay, well, before I give my answer, who were y'all's players? Because I guess I may have missed that one, but who were y'all's players?
Andrew went with Carter, and Carter won the poll. I went with DJ.
Okay.
And we talked a lot about TB, and then Billy, we were like, God, did he even play in that game against Texas Tech? We had to go back and look at it. So
okay. Well, see, I said Carter, but the reason being is because if I'm not mistaken, I think he had 20 points against Texas Tech last year in that game.
Out, man. Yeah.
And the reason I want him to have this one, of course, I want any of these players to have it, but the main reason for him is because I couldn't imagine where you are a true freshman and you already had a big upset of St. John's and you already beat Kansas and, you're really rolling and you have this big lead in the whole game. I'm not trying to revisit bad stuff, but then you as a true freshman play arguably one of your best games all season of 20 points on the biggest stage and you lose. That's got to be like really, it's frustrating for anybody to have that, but as a true freshman, again, to have that happen, I just feel like that would be motivating enough for me to like, man, this is a team that I cooked as a true freshman, but yet circumstances surrounding it didn't happen. So I think Carter, man, for that reason and just because of the season that he's had so far, I know we all keep waiting on when he's going to bounce through, but it would make Not to say that, as soon as if he has a good game against Texas Tech, suddenly he's all the way back and it's just smooth sailing from here. But I just really feel like if he has a big game, Arkansas wins this one, not like by 20, but they win it fairly comfortably is how I feel. Because I think Acuff's going to get his. I think Malik Thomas is going to get his. Just as long as Pringle, Ewan, and Brazil don't just put up a big nothing burger, I think that they'll have that. But if you told me, hey, the only thing about this game, Carter Knox is going to go for 20 and 9 and 5 and 4, I'm like, Arkansas wins easily.
I like it. That reminds me of one thing Carter said. We had him for a press conference this morning. It was like 8 minutes long, like the standard. But he was asked about like what the returning guys who experienced that last year have been saying to the new guys about this game, like what their reactions were, because they've been watching a little bit of film from obviously this year because that's the team you're playing, but a lot of carryover from what they did last year and some of the ways they were guarding them and stuff. And he said that, like I think he was talking about Acuff, and he was like, yeah, like the first thing he said was, man, y'all should have won that game. And then Carter was like, yeah, I know we should have won that game, but if we would have won that game, we would have won the national championship and y'all wouldn't have been seeing us. And basically saying most of those guys are back because of the unfinished business aspect of this, which again, he kind of downplayed the whole, like, nah, I haven't had this circled on my calendar, man. It's just another game for us. Bull crap. I don't believe that one bit. This is personal for him. I can't wait to see him play on Saturday.
I like that. I wonder if when they were watching the film, they were thinking, thank God we don't have to guard this thick, juicy boy, Darion Williams, man. Thank God we don't have to compete for him on the backboards.
Did you see they went and got somebody just like him? He's the poor man's version. He's not as good as Darion Williams. He's a good player, but it's like the same idea where he's like 6'6"-ish, but just thick bodied dude, man. He's like 230 some odd pounds and he does the same things out there. That's what they did. Like Arkansas went out and they it's like a completely different team. Like Acuff and Thomas, or it's just a totally different dynamic than what Arkansas had last year. Texas Tech, they've got fewer guys returning this season, but they literally went out and replaced everybody they lost with like their doppelganger almost in terms of the way they played. It's kind of weird to see, but at any rate, that's what we got going on there for that game.
Yeah, listen, I think as weird as it is, that winning that Louisville game was awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. But if you beat Texas Tech, to me, just me, it means a lot more, and I'm going to be a lot more excited about it. Just because of the fact that it's in a neutral court, and all the other things that are happening. I think that it's good to go, and I think it's going to be fun to see how, if Arkansas comes out on top, everyone's going to be talking about them too. He's like, man, they beat Louisville, now they beat Texas Tech. So it's going to be fun just to see that and have the excitement. And of course, our Pot at the Palace post game show right there at Chop Victory Park will be great. So it'll just all be great.
It being away from Bud Walton Arena is also huge too. And especially because there's going to be so many fans there. Would like for Arkansas to have a good experience in the DFW area.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're waiting on it for sure. So the sooner the better. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, John, we'll kind of make the transition here, because I just know it's a lot easier when you're kind of leading the charge here. You know everything that we've talked about, but one thing you might know is like who we've talked about in terms of our partners. So with that being the case, Razorback fans, let's talk about insurance. It's our favorite thing to do. Nobody wants to deal with the hassle of shopping around, and that's why I use and recommend OZK Insurance. They're based right here in Arkansas, and listen, they shop multiple carriers to find the best coverage and price for you, whether it's home, auto, business, you name it. Whether it's Saturdays out at Razorback Stadium or everyday life, you want protection you can count on. With over 600 five-star Google reviews, sounds like you can count on OZK Insurance. Hit them up for a free online quote at ozkinsurance.com or call 479-715-4200. That's 479-715-4200. It's OZK Insurance, protection made simple. So we had just kind of gotten into the chat, by the way, and we had saved the Sharon Moore conversation. We have not gotten into that yet, in case you were wondering where to carry us here. So,
dude, okay, here's the deal. We were texting about it yesterday, and we already know that the coaching carousel madness has been chaotic for everybody. But when you throw in, all right, by the way, Michigan also is going to be looking for a new head coach. And I saw when the news broke, my first thought was something bad happened. because there's no way that Michigan, after all that chaos, is just now suddenly going to be like, well, even though everyone else found a job and everyone did this, now we're going to kind of find a new coach. Something had to happen. And it was like, okay. And then it was like, oh, by the way, he's being fired for cause. Oh, he's being fired because of an inappropriate relationship with the staff. Oh. And then it goes, it's like, and he's been arrested. Oh, it's like, whoa, that went from 0 to 100 like that. It's insane how that happened.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And you know, right away when I saw it, I was thinking, could this be something new that surfaced from the whole Connor Stallions deal, and that whole scandal, like you were touching on? I was like, I guess it's got to be that. And as we started to figure out the details of everything going on, and it was crazy how it's almost like semi-common knowledge that was going on, and there was an investigation. I guess like around the program. I didn't know anything about it, obviously, but seems like a lot of folks did. And then real quick, that you see people pulling up the receipts of like this chick got double the salary that she was getting after a couple years, and all these other things. But yeah, it's one thing to have a scandal like that, and it's crazy. Like we've kind of lived through that, obviously, as Arkansas fans, but the whole added element of they had like the emergency team meeting, and then he pulls up wherever, and then he winds up getting arrested, and he's getting ready to face assault charges. I guess they said he's going to get arraigned or something on Friday. That's crazy. And so it goes from, I know a lot of people are popping off their jokes and everything, and fair game with that type of stuff, but it kind of gets borderline scary with that type of stuff. Like, I don't know what all went into him getting put in cuffs and everything, but you just think about the people involved, first of all, and then for him, gosh, man, like what a crash out to go from just one of the best coaching jobs in the country to have at Michigan, and millions of dollars, and you're set for life. And next thing you know, you're eating bologna on white in a county jail or whatever. That's a hell of a turn of events, man. And I don't even know what they're going to do at this point.
Well, see, that's what kind of was really shocking to me, because, like everyone brought up the Petrino deal. And it's like, all right, what is it? The meme of James Franco when he's got the noose around him and being like, first time, type of thing. It's like, that's what it reminded me of. It's like, yeah, we've been here before. And then when the arrest happened, that's when I was like, okay, this is, I could be wrong, but usually when it comes to high profile coaches or high profile people like that, the cops don't usually just arrest people for nothing. Usually they're like, they have something to arrest you for. And to go to that level of seriousness is really what's, again, like awful, because, it looks like there could be some like pretty serious things that's going on here. And then throwing in the fact that it is Michigan and that it is a high profile job, but also this thing surrounding it. Because then it also, as we know about Curtis, not to say this will for sure happen, but, if it starts to come more out of like, okay, well, who knew about this? Were there people inside the program that knew about this stuff, that were hiding it? Were there athletic directors or presidents or somebody that was trying to cover it up? Were there, things even done more so on the side? Was this particular individual, doing other things too, being paid for? Like, there's just so many things that could really open up here. And it's just, again, not the thing that I think anybody was expecting to have happen, which has already been the craziest coaching carousel of any college football season. But this just adds a whole new wrinkle of, hey, say what you want about the LSU debacle, with that whole deal of the governor coming out, and then say what you want about like Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin and that whole thing. This one's got to take the cake as far as the craziness, because I could be wrong. I can't remember the last time we've seen a coach of college football, basketball, whatever, at a major level be arrested. Like, I just can't think of the last time that actually happened.
It reminds me, in a way, of the Chris Beard thing. Now it took them a hot minute to actually fire him. Like, they had to go through the entire investigation and everything like that, because he was just like on unpaid suspension or something, and Rodney Terry took over, and it was like a month later that they actually canned him. But yeah, he got arrested. I remember the mugshots and everything coming out for him, which was crazy. But yeah, outside of that, and just the fact that it all happened, I saw somebody do the timeline. It was like within an hour, it's team meeting, told the team he's fired, and then the police are called to this place and he gets arrested. Like, all happens so quick right there, which is nuts. And he had a place like Michigan too. Like, as crazy as this coaching carousel has been, me and Andrew were talking about it right before you hopped on. Like, is this the second best job that's opened up behind LSU. I mean, maybe you could argue Florida, but gosh, I mean, that's a major job there. And now everybody's wondering, what the heck is this going to do? Like, it's just going to create even more dominoes in the carousel, because they will attract a sitting head coach. Like, they're going to get a big name to come in there and take over. And I know a lot of people are pointing to Kalen DeBoer, and would he actually leave Alabama and go over there? But I did see the people were saying, okay, well then Lane's going to leave LSU and go to Bama. But I'm going to assume that this is reputable. But I saw somebody put out that in the contracts, I guess, for these guys from Ole Miss that are going to LSU, if they leave before the end of spring ball in 2026, they have to pay 300% of their contract or something to get out of. Like, it's some kind of crazy money thing there. I don't know if that includes Kiffin or if it's just his offensive staff, but a lot of hurdles to figure out. I have no idea what the heck this is going to look like.
I don't either. And that's the thing I was going to ask you. Do you think that there's sitting or coaches that got new jobs sitting there and they see the job open up and they're like, dadgummit, man, if I just would have waited a little bit, like I could have had, not to say like Silverfield would have been in the running for Michigan, but could there have been a Sumrall or a Golish or
Matt Campbell? I was listening to the Cover 3 guys, and that was the first thing they said. Like, man, Matt Campbell is probably kicking himself right now because he could have been a really prime candidate for that job. And now they're throwing out all the same names. Like, obviously, DeBoer is one that popped up there. And so I don't know, man, if he would actually leave Bama or what that would look like. It'd be crazy if they poached Bama's coach like that. But I was hearing people bring up Drink, and I'm like, dude, don't do that. But you know who they agreed on, those guys, the Cover 3 guys, and they do a good job. I like listening to them. You'll get a kick out of this. They were like, PJ Fleck is the perfect Michigan coach. He's like, you wouldn't be able to sell it to the fan base because it's interconference and they haven't had the success and everything like that, but he would be a really good coach for Michigan. And I was like, listen, dang, don't tell John, but
no, listen, I'm looking at it from the circumstance. If they're trying to hire a new head coach like right now, because I guess what was his name, Bogey, or what's that guy's name that's interim?
Biff Poggi.
Biff Poggi, yeah. It's like I don't know. It may be the case of like they're trying to make him like just the interim for the full year, like a John L. Smith thing, and then do something after that. But if we're looking for somebody like right now, where they want to hire somebody right now, and they got PJ Fleck, I'm like, that's as good as a circumstances you're going to get. Now, if they waited a year and then they hired PJ Fleck, okay, that's not really that great. But honestly, I'm with you. And I don't like PJ Fleck, or at least I didn't like the idea of him coming down here. I think you could do a lot worse if you're Michigan. Because I'd also like to see, since he's used to the Big Ten, he's used to it being up there. If he has the support and the money and the staff and everything, could he maybe at least make something work? Because all it's going to take is whoever beats Ohio State once, you'll be there for life. It seems like so. But man, yeah, that was just again crazy stuff, dude. In this coaching search and all of that. Wow. That's been going on, and I can't wait to see what's more about it. I feel bad because it's like such a scary but terrible story, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, that would be interesting. Because I also saw, by the way, On 3 brought up maybe Clark Lee as going up there, which I'm like,
interesting,
I guess, but I don't know. Do you want to, if you're somebody like Clark Lee and you got it going on at Vanderbilt, do you want to walk into that situation?
Nope. I don't. I think that Clark Lee is a great coach for Michigan, but Michigan's not a great stop for Clark Lee.
Right. Yeah. Somebody in the chat, I just see they're like, John's going to make an argument for Petrino to Michigan. What if that happened? What if Bobby Petrino went to Michigan?
That would just. Well, could you imagine, given how they just fired this guy? Like,
dude,
he would probably have a case at that point.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
If I was Sharon Moore, and obviously he's earned it here, but like if he got fired for the reasons he got fired, and then they hired Bobby Petrino, Michigan would be catching a case, dude.
Oh yeah. Like that would be ESPN and everybody's wet dream to have like that content going on for all the chaos that's surrounding it. But either way, by the way, but apparently Clark Lee also said, I have no interest in the job. And everyone's like, yeah, okay. And I know we'll get to like heavy hitters and more of the chat, but did you see Adam Schefter's comment on that this morning with the Sharon Moore thing? Because he's like a Michigan guy, I believe. Adam Schefter is.
Yeah.
But he was like, we got to be very careful about, assuming things in the story and all of that. He's
I
like,
did see this.
but then he's like, we got, one person we have not heard from is Sharon Moore. So we need, I was like, yeah, because he's in jail. Like he got arrested. Like that's why we haven't heard from
Yeah, I'm
him. Like,
sorry, Adam Schefter, that you weren't his one phone call. So
yeah. And it's like, he's like, we got to wait and see what comes out. But he's like, we got to wait to hear this. And I'm like, listen, I get it. Because you never want to rush to judgment and all that stuff at the same time. I'm like, the man's in jail. Like, if you're expecting a public statement from something like that, you're probably not going to get it. But man.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the Chris Beard thing because I forgot about that. That happened. Chris Beard was the crazy one where because then they already have the season start, like it's like mid-season, and then the story came out, and then he got arrested, then he was fired, and then like 7 months later, he's the Ole Miss head coach.
Yep, happened
like
real
crazy.
quick. Crazy man.
Which in a weird way, I'm kind of glad because I was very fearful of Chris Beard because that Texas team that he left was stupid loaded, and he's a really good coach. So, I would have been crazy to see all that plays out, but
that was the Texas team that beat Muss and the boys by like 30 or whatever in that exhibition.
Was that okay? So that was the same year.
And it was like a couple weeks after is when all that went down, and Rodney Terry had those boys, but then it was the entire year because Chris Beard was out of there, and it was like, oh well, is Ron Holland gonna dip out on Texas and come to Arkansas? And then he did dip out on Texas, and he didn't come to Arkansas. The downfall of Eric Musselman, what I'm saying here is it's Chris Beard's fault. Couldn't keep his hands to himself. It's crazy.
It's true. Well, one of the funny things real quick about that story too, is I remember I'm not trying to be political or anything like that. I was just saying that I remember Chris Beard was one of those guys that was like not wanting to wear masks like during the COVID stuff and everything. Yeah. And then I remember he got arrested and he was like, coming out of the station and everything. And he had like a COVID mask on. I was like, oh, now because the photographers are out there and stuff, suddenly you're like, I don't want any sickness or anything. Like, get out of here with that, man. Get out of here with that. But yeah, hey, listen, I bet you Michigan's going to get poached like crazy, or at least people are going to attempt to poach.
Yeah.
Get John, Jalen Bryant, and not the Metcalf boys up there. I know that got brought up, but I'm sure that's what everyone, Arkansas fans, stop. Like, listen, if Metcalf boys come back, that's great, but don't be sitting there being like, man, Silver better be on the phone right now calling the Metcalf boys. I'm like, he has no connection to them really. And I mean, but again, if they came back, I wouldn't be mad either. I wouldn't be mad.
I'd take them both today.
Easily. All right, we'll get to our heavy hitters in a bit. Also, where'd you guys leave off in the chats? Because I don't want to like bring up any chats that.
I think I unstarred the ones that we had gone through. Is just the all of the super chats we've gotten through.
Okay, cool. Because I saw that people are saying that Slim should make a replacement for me, and I was like, yeah, well.
Oh yeah, I didn't get rid of that one. So.
Yeah, no, it's like you should.
Nothing's happening. He usually just lays in the floor here while I'm doing the show. And then he was barking in his sleep. Then he jumped up and he's running around barking. Nothing's going on. For a minute, I thought he was tripping balls, like he was hurt or something. But now he's knocked out. So he's
I will say, because I was again listening to the show while my internet was getting set up. But when I heard Slim barking, I was like, that was the first time I ever heard him bark. To be honest, like I didn't know what he sounded like. So
vicious, man.
I'm telling you, I said some treachery must have been afoot for him to do that. Let's see. And I also learned yesterday it's Terica, right? With just Terica with a T.
Yes.
Silverfield is Silverfield a character coach, not in a prude way, but wasn't a fan of the flip-off celebration. Always made me worry of penalties. I can't sit here and say that I've watched every Memphis game to know, was there any shenanigans going on? And I get what you're saying, Terica, but it's one of those deals to where, you have 85 or 100, however many players with different personalities. And, even though you try to run a program in a certain way, like there may be some things that come out. Like, what was it? Do you remember Nick Saban in Alabama in the national championship game? You remember that like D lineman that lost his mind on the sidelines?
Yeah.
It was like trying to fight people. Like, does that mean that Nick Saban's just not a character coach? He's got this person. It's like, no, it's just like, if it's a culture thing where all the players are doing it, I think that's different. But if it's just like one, you don't want to see it, but I also don't be like, man, the coach is just losing control because they have this one wide receiver on a celebration that flipped off the crowd. Like, I don't see it that way.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I was not a fan of that either. You can do better things than that. Like you score against LSU and you're flipping off the whole crowd. And it's like, all right, you're 2-8. Like, what the hell are we doing here? But then you score on them and you're doing the L's down and everything. I'm like, okay, like that I can get behind a little bit, show them up. But the middle finger thing is just weird to me. But the thing I remember about Silverfield just from that game against Arkansas, there was so much talk about like culture and belief and everything like that, and that those guys are really playing for them. So I don't know that they're like all the most upstanding citizens in the world or whatever, and a bunch of moral orals out there on the field, but it seems like the culture aspect of it is something that he brings to the table, and frankly, we know that it's something that Arkansas really needs. So I'm anxious to see, like the character of the dudes that he brings in here. That was another thing that he talked about, John, when he came over here and he was like, okay, you have 3 days, and then it's signing day. And he even said in his press conference, like, yeah, maybe we could have landed some more players or whatever, but I don't want to bring in guys that I don't know into our locker room, or guys that I've had one conversation with. Maybe they're ready to come, but I don't know you like that. So I'm not going to take that risk. So it's definitely something that matters to him, which I appreciate.
Yeah, no, I think it's one thing to, like, you got to weigh the risk reward, because there's some players, like if they're next level, great. You can maybe deal with a little bit of the personality, or at least something that may be different from what you would normally recruit. But yeah, unless it's just somebody that can truly help you on the field 100%, you may not just take a risk on them. But that's I'm not going to sit here and try to be like, hey, this is the way you got to do it. But to your point of like flipping off the crowd or something, yeah, at least do like the DX, like do that or something. Be creative if you're going to be expletive there. Let's see. Also, Tucker just says 3 secondary coaches, 2 online coaches, and a partridge in a pear. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Good job.
I like that. Let's see. Addison says over under half technical fouls for Arkansas, and hoping the under hits. We need to see if SARACEN maybe has some stuff on that. That'd be great if they did.
Yeah, we got to start making that a prop because they seem to be good for it. I'll go over. I think we'll get one of those double tech situations.
So let me ask you this, because here I have a hot take on this, but I want your thought. I think if there is a technical called, it's going to be on Arkansas. It's going to be on a particular player's their first technical of the season. Like, it's not going to be Billy. It's going to be, because I can't remember. Trevin's gotten one, right?
Yeah, he got one. He got one the other day.
That's right. He got one.
Double, yeah.
Nick Pringle did for the ending of that Winthrop game, and obviously Billy did to get ejected. Did Carter also get a technical when him and that other guy gotten into it in that one game?
I think they got double techs for that. Yeah,
I think they did too.
State game. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like that was really weird too, because Carter's normally not like that. Golly, so I'm running out of players, so maybe it won't be a new player. Like if DJ Wagner gets a technical, then something bad happened, because I feel like that guy, like somebody must have said something horrible about his mom to
it would be crazy if DJ got one. I guess neither one of the freshmen have gotten one. Have they?
Which I don't.
They don't strike. I mean, I could see Leak, but Leak is a trash talker, but I don't think he's like. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that would do anything to cross that line necessarily. Maybe he hits a big shot and he stares somebody down and gets one. Malik Ewan is a guy who I could see getting one. Like if he's playing well, and I could definitely see him getting like a taunting. If he gets an and one or something on JT Toppin and then he flexes on him or something. But I think that they're gonna get one in this game.
And I don't want to play like a psychology person over here too. And I'm not trying to like assume anything, but is it just me, or is the bigs for Arkansas, whether it's Pringle, Ewan, or in Brazil, it's like they seem pretty chill, but dude, they had the shortest fuse you could see, where like Brazil, we know, because like we know Brazil, man, Brazil, like he's very chill, very nice guy, like very cool. But it's just like if you elevate it, he just goes right there. Like he's just boom, he's mad and he's doing something. And we've seen that, kind of like what you talk about with Ewan, and then Pringle has gotten into it. It just feels like they got some very short fuses there with their big men in Arkansas.
They do for sure. I saw like 10 people in the chat right away were like, I guess you didn't see DJ Wagner getting that fight in high school. Yes, we did. We talked about that. I don't remember if it was on this show or if it was on the post-game show last week after some of all these scuffles, but no, for sure. I definitely remember that and seeing that viral video, which is crazy because then at the time, he's going to Kentucky, and I'm thinking, dang, is this dude, a little rough around the edges for Cal? I know he's got the family ties and everything, but it turns out he's like the most, soft-spoken, and he's just so respectful and everything like that. But yeah, don't be mistaken if push comes to shove, DJ is good for it. He just knows how to handle himself, and hasn't let his emotions get to him yet in college, and he's in his 3rd year. Has he gotten a technical foul in college?
Talking about DJ?
Yeah.
Well, so here's the deal, Curtis. I just brought up Hogstats. Shout out to Hogstats.
Okay.
Because he has a whole tab called cool stuff, and he has technical fouls. So
Okay.
I'm going to go off of him getting this right. DJ Wagner got a technical against Winthrop, if you remember.
Oh, he got ejected because he came off the bench.
Correct. Yeah.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
I mean, if you want to count that, but as far as that goes, let's see. As far as players under Cal, at least, can you name? This is what's crazy. Can you name the players that have gotten the most technicals? Or I guess there's one. No, there's two. Can you name the two players that are tied for the most technicals under Cal in the era of Arkansas? They're tied at 3, by the way. So each of them have 3 technicals.
3 tech. Billy.
So Billy has only 2.
Okay. Sheesh. Trevin.
Trevin's, yep, he's there.
Okay. I feel like it's got to be another one of these returners. No.
Nope.
So somebody got 3 last year. Big Z.
Yep, Big
Let's
Z.
go.
I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh, he got 3 last year. He got
That's
one
hilarious.
against let's see, he got 1 against Alabama. He got 1 against Auburn.
I remember that one.
Yeah, in that one. And okay, so I don't know if maybe this is a typo, but it says against Kentucky, but maybe it was a flagrant 1. But did he get a technical? Maybe he got technical when all that scuffling happened over there in the corner.
It had to have been then.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if Billy got one then, and I guess he didn't. But okay.
And here's, I know we'll move on to the heavy hitters, folks. I know people I don't care about, but I didn't remember this, Curtis. Last year against Michigan, DJ Wagner got a technical. I don't remember that.
He did.
According to Hogstats, DJ Wagner got a technical against Michigan, and Will Shetter, however you say his name.
Oh yeah.
So maybe it was a double tech too, because both of them. So, but anyways,
I remember this now.
So it shows you how weird it was that we've seen now DJ Wagner's gotten 2 technicals since being in Arkansas.
The 3 for Big Z is hilarious. That's amazing, man.
I know, literally the guy that everyone's like, yeah, you're soft, you're all this, but because I do remember the Auburn one, because I mean, let's be honest, when you go 0 of 10 and Chad Baker Mazara is getting into your grill, you're gonna have that. So Hayden, appreciate the super chat. He goes, got to be Willie Cauley-Stein if you go back to Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I felt like Tyler Hero got a lot of technicals when he was at Kentucky too.
He was a talker, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, because our intern Cameron said Sealy got ejected too. So I guess the question is, who hasn't gotten a technical this year then?
It's just Ewan, I guess.
Wow. I'm not isn't that insane? Wait a
And
minute,
the freshmen,
conference.
Acuff and Thomas, neither one of them have, to my knowledge, at least.
Well, yeah, because Hogstats, they don't have it on. But isn't that insane? You're talking about, if I would have told you, hey, who are the 3 players not to get a technical this year, or before the year ends, you'd probably be like, wait, that there was that many technicals getting called by that many different players? It's like, yep. So who knows? Maybe a new
bad
one.
boy Pistons, man.
I tell you, it's the same thing. Shout out to Ant Phillips for the super chat. Appreciate it. He goes, those young men are trying to prove they aren't soft. Too many people suggested it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it didn't take long for people to start doing that. And, they went out and got Nick Pringle. And so everybody was like, okay, that's going to kind of fix your toughness and your physicality issues and everything. But, they get out rebounded a couple games early, and it's like, all right, these dudes are soft. And, even Cal was talking about them getting more physical and everything like that. Maybe they could show that they are tough guys in a different way besides getting technical fouls. But listen, if you're going to get one here and there, I'm okay with it as long as they play the game with an edge and play a game with some physicality and aggression in there. And for the most part, they've been doing that lately. What really got on my nerves, the Trevin thing at Michigan State, he gets baited in that offensive foul, and he's in a bad mood and he plays terrible in that game. And then you do the nonsense with the towel and everything afterwards. It's like, okay, that is soft. That's the type of stuff that we can't have here. And I don't think Billy needed to hit the dude in the face when you're up 30. I don't care if he's, breathing in your ear or whatever. But yeah, I mean, if they're playing with toughness and playing with an edge, then I can live with one every now and again. But you got to be careful, because it very easily could have cost you that game against Winthrop. And if you think about it, a game like this, just don't be reactionary about it, because Texas Tech, they're a physical team, and they're going to talk to you, and somebody's going to throw an elbow or say something you don't like. And if you do like what Trevin did against Fresno State and you shove the guy afterwards right in front of the ref and they go make 2 free throws, then you lose the game, we're all going to be sitting here looking stupid. So,
Right. If you're going to do it in the first half. So that way
you
you have
early.
time.
Yeah, you can't have it late, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than that when it's like, a 4-point, 5-point swing or whatever. And it's killer.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, too, we'll get to our heavy hitters, but I'm surprised Cal's gotten 1 technical in his time at Arkansas. Do you remember the game he got a technical? Well, I should say the bench got a technical, which I assume means Cal, but
Vanderbilt.
Yep. Vanderbilt.
They were beating up on Vanderbilt, and he got that tech for no reason. And I remember the whole year thinking, why is he not going to tech? I don't understand. And it was the Vandy game. I'll never forget that. Which, whatever. Good on him.
Yeah. Hey, I hope he gets. If I'll tell you this, if Calipari gets a technical on Saturday, Arkansas wins. Calling my shot.
Yeah, he's got at least 2 coaching box violations already this season. So
they'll think the Louisville game. Because it was Doug Shows, and he hates Doug Shows, man. He hates Doug Shows, and like I was where I was sitting, he kind of like they did the warning or whatever, and he's just yelling at Shows like, "How about here? How about here?" And kept just like over so I'm like, how about here? How about this? How about that? So hopefully we don't have to worry about Shows being in that one. So we'll get to more of your chats, but let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters here on Inside Arkansas Live. It's presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction, where we know storms can hit unexpectedly, no matter what. It's one of those things that you always think your roof's good to go, because how often do you actually look at your roof? I mean, it's above you. You're just assuming, well, it's up there and, it's not doing anything to me. It's not making any weird noises. But all it takes is just one bad storm, and suddenly the floodgates literally open. You could have damage done not only to your roof, but to the inside of your home, to all of your belongings, and even to yourself, to your family. So don't waste any time. Don't even risk it. Have the professionals give you a free inspection and give you that peace of mind with HD Roofing and Construction. And they have 2 different locations now that you can call with their new Northwest Arkansas location. You can call them today at 479-957-1928, or their Central Arkansas location at 501-428-0429. You can also check out their website at hdarkansas.com. It's HD Roofing and Construction, your official sponsor of the heavy hitters here on Inside Arkansas Live. So Curtis, I'll go ahead and kick off my heavy hitter, because I felt like after missing the show yesterday, I've been behind the times here on being able to give out who my heavy hitters are. Because I think, was it the best of the weekend was the maybe you were the one that brought it up, was with Philip Rivers coming back to the Colts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it's fun to see, like, him. Part of being my heavy hitter is just because of the reaction and the reception that he's gotten, which I think is really cool. And he's somebody that is probably going to get rooted for quite a bit, or people are going to be rooting for. But I also want to give another heavy hitter. It's going to be very lame, but to my dog Rowdy, because he's been a trooper. First time I moved in, as soon as he walked in, he just bent a fresh biscuit right there in the middle of the kitchen floor. So I was like, well, I guess he's marking his territory, but he's been stressed out, all this moving, all this chaos and everything. But he's been really good, and he's been a trooper. He's been a trooper. So like I said, with the internet guy coming in here, it's freaking him out with all the noises and stuff. It's tough, but he's been hanging in there, and we'll see if he forgives me anytime soon. But I just want to give a shout out to old Rowdy, letting him know that, because I was stressed, because like last time when I moved up here, it was a bad deal for him, and I was just so scared. I'm like, please, because he had a seizure. I was like, please don't stress. He's been doing good, so. Knock on wood. Hopefully that stays that way. So shout out to Rowdy.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. We led the show with Rowdy yesterday. Gave him a good boy alert for dropping the deuce in your kitchen while you're. So hey, great, listen, priorities first, man. So no, that's right. That's good. I know that stuff is that's hard on dogs, man. Like you get your comfort zones, and sometimes newness, especially if you're not out and about all the time, it can freak you out a little bit. So it's good. Hope he enjoys the new digs and everything. And happy for Rowdy. Rowdy's a good dog, man. That's good stuff. I haven't heard Rowdy tripping balls during the middle of a live stream. Slim. I've never heard Rowdy bark before in my life. So I mean, it would be the first time if that ever happened. There you go. He just doesn't make noise. So, but instead he just whines. But either way, yeah. He's my heavy hitter though. Okay. All right. I like that. I like that a lot. Were you a trading card guy? Like a
So I was not like not Pokemon or anything like that, but as far as like
no, of course not. Yeah.
sports stuff, I was so it's so funny you bring that up. I used to have it and I wish I still had it, but I had it was like an NBA book from like 1996. I'll never forget it. And it was this thing we got at a grocery store here in Fayetteville called Consumers.
Okay.
And me and my brother had one, and they were kind of like cards, but they were more like stickers, but they were like heavy. And they would have like these empty spaces for each basketball team, and you would buy the stickers and then you'd collect until you got like the full roster on there. Anyways, that was about what I did. So I count that as cards, but yes, I did that for basketball.
Interesting. This is not my heavy hitter, but this reminds me of my dad was he had just a baseball card collection as he was a kid, and he had some gems, man. And when him and my mom got married, I guess this is before I was born, but my uncle was quite a bit younger. And so my dad like gifted him his trading card collection. He's like, hey man, like take good care of these, young man, or whatever. And so he went outside with the BB gun and was just shooting holes through the faces of all the players. And it was like a lot, like some legit rookie cards and a lot of value in those. And he just went and peppered it with the BB gun. My dad's never forgiven him for that. But
oh wow.
Anyway, Kobe Bryant was that was my guy, man. Growing up, I was a big Kobe Bryant fan and everything. And I saw on ESPN this morning that he had a card. It was a signed Upper Deck Kobe Bryant card that fetched $1.22 million.
Holy balls.
Yeah, it says a 2003-2004 Upper Deck Exquisite Collection Emblems of Endorsements card of Kobe Bryant recently sold for $1.22 million, including the buyer's premium with golden auctions. It's the third highest public sale for a solo Bryant card of all time.
Wow.
That is crazy, bro. 1.22 mil for a card.
See, that's the thing. It was like, if you sell a card for that much, that's good on you. But if you're someone that bought that for that, I don't understand it. Like, I'm sure there's a reason why. I'm sure it's people that know more than me, but I just couldn't imagine that. I could not imagine that. And I know real quick fun facts about when you're bringing up Kobe. Did you know, I've learned this actually last week, the most memed, whether it's GIF or memes or whatever, NBA player of all time is Kobe Bryant?
I believe that.
Yep. Because because you think about the one where he's saying soft when he's actually soft. And you think about the one where him and I forgot who got dunked on or whatever, but they're all looking up at the Jumbotron, like him and Gasol, and they're all like, oh, and he's like putting his head down, like that. And of course, some of the ones that he did were not very appropriate, but either way,
true.
I thought that was interesting about Kobe. Were you more of an 8 Kobe or 24 Kobe?
Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Didn't matter, man. Yeah. I was a Kobe Bryant guy from start to finish. That was my dude. The other one that I remember a lot was, I think it was Matt Barnes. He was like inbounding the ball.
Yes.
Kobe standing there and it's right in front of his face. And he just didn't flinch. And I was like, oh yeah, he's a badass, man. Dude. I love that. So
yeah. And the thing is I used to, same thing with Tom Brady. I hated Tom Brady forever because I was a Jets fan and he just beat me all the time, which everybody does. But I hated Kobe Bryant and Shaq. I hated those teams because I felt like they were trying to steal from Michael Jordan in the Bulls of trying to do 4 in a row. And I just hated them. I hated Kobe also because I was a Celtics guy. But it's like, both Brady and Kobe, as they went on, I'm like, I can't hate them anymore because they're just like really good. And I love the way that Kobe approached the game, man. So that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
The torn Achilles and then go up there and make the free throws. That's it's grown man stuff.
Oh, that's that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, trust me, as someone who's torn their Achilles, I ain't shooting free throws. I can tell you that's the last thing that I'm doing is like, if I was even playing basketball when I tore it. And it's, of course, not near as cool story, but I'm like, I just could not imagine. And not even like, just like barreling in pain. Like you could tell he was hurt, but it was like watching it, you would have never guessed, oh yeah, that's a guy that tore his Achilles tendon right there.
Yeah.
Like that's just, that was crazy.
It's too bad Andrew's not here to defend LeBron James's honor.
Oh gosh. Is he a Bron fan?
Yeah, he's a Bron guy.
Nah.
He's a Bron guy. He respects greatness. I get it.
Which I get too. And see, I'm the opposite. And that was the same thing. I love LeBron when he came out and was at the Cleveland and all that. But as soon as he went to Miami, I'm like, I hate this guy. I can't stand him. And now I can't stand him either. Because everyone's asking about Andrew. Hey, Andrew's just, again, everyone's under the weather. So we're just like, hey, Andrew, Feeling under the weather.
This was, yeah. It seems crazy, but we kind of had this figured out to a degree. Like Andrew was going to gut it out literally as long as he could there, and then once John was all set up, he would pop in, and we were going to make it through no matter what. But yeah, he'll be all right, I think.
Yeah.
Check out that.
It's funny because I'm sitting here at the desk. I have like the lights turned. I have everything just sitting here ready as soon as the internet comes on. And guys like, all right, you're good to go. So if you want to, I'm like, shut up and get out. I have a show to do. So it's like, I was just like, I don't even care what you have to say to me. You can text it later. It's like, so, but we got it done. All right, let's see some other chats here too. Appreciate everybody tuning in here today. Speaking of, Omri says, John, what's the new Addy? Just want to make sure Ellis can drive by at midnight and yell at you. So, well. I don't think that's going to happen, nor would I want him to. That's only Curtis. Only Curtis gets that treatment and that privilege. So
one of the highlights of my last few months, man. I got a newborn and everything, so many memories. But Andrew Ellis in the midnight hours serenading me from his car window. Well, it's always going to live in my mind.
Yeah. Well, we got Ellis texting me, and you both goes Braun Goat. Okay, well, there you go. So at least we know he's still listening. Let's see. We already talked about that one. Hogball Burner says you can have over 10 assistants and just 10 can recruit off campus.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. That makes a little bit more sense because I know I always get that. It's hard to keep up with because I know like in basketball or whatever, or baseball, it's like, forever you can only have the 2 full-timers coaches, but now you can have 3 and all that. I just assume in football, there's just no rules because that's also with the basketball. Like we talked about it with Cal's staff. Mm-hmm. Like you went from Mike Anderson's staff, which was literally like 4 guys. And then Musk brings in a staff. You're like, geez, look at all these. Who are these people? And then Cal comes in and he's got like 2 rows, like of Bud Walton booked out for his staff. So it's incredible. And you're like, I don't know what they do. I don't know, how much money they make or anything. But if Cal feels like they need it, then they'll make it happen.
It's funny. Yeah, you can have like 5 on-floor assistant coaches, and however many of them can go on the road recruiting. But you can hire as many special assistant to the head coach as you want to, so they can literally just make up titles and give them to folks out there, which I wish you would make up a title for me.
Yeah, seriously,
call me whatever the hell you want. I'll follow the team around, man. So.
Yeah, just as long as I can get on the jet. That's all I care about. Let's see. Also, I guess Terrica was saying yes, and Canada. So Terrica Canada. That is a great name.
It is a great name, actually.
Yeah, Terrica Canada.
I did not say it as smoothly yesterday. It was rough.
Well, see, now you know what I go through half the time when I'm like reading the chats and these usernames pop up. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. So Hogs by 94 says Technical.
Like that.
I do too.
Hey, maybe he'll be the one that gets it.
Yes. I mean, I feel like Cal is as much of a seasoned vet that he only will get a technical when he wants one. Like it's never going to be one of those of like, he gets a technical and he's just seriously shocked. Like, what I do? I think he knows all these officials. Like, I mean, he knows them all. So
he's so fixated right now on teeing off on his own players that I don't know how worried he is about the officials, man. He's been getting after it on Ewan and Carter and all those dudes. Malik Thomas is always getting the business there. So he might not even know the refs exist in this one.
No, I just can't wait for when the game against Texas Tech, because one of these times he's going to have a huge win. And maybe it's Texas Tech, maybe it's Houston, Tennessee, or somebody in the press conference. He's just going to play it down like it's just literal, not a big deal at all. Like you're like, hey, we just didn't play well. If you guys are, I'm happy for a win, but we're not anywhere near where we need to be. Just something like that. It's like, dude, you just beat like the number 4 team in the country or whatever. It's just not where I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by that. I just can't wait for it. Let's see. Hickory Hog also says, I guess I better go get that Kobe card out of my bike tires.
Hey, I mean,
yeah,
they're cashing in right now. So
apparently. Let's see. Kingsley says, hopefully our boy Ellis is at least getting a laugh out of the chat during these turbulent times.
Turbulent.
Let's hope so. I like that.
That's good.
At first I was like, well, I don't think that's how you spell turbulent. I was like, oh, yep, there it is.
Got it.
Got it.
Well
Nailed it.
I've got to assume Kingsley's going to be at the game this weekend.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got, so it's kind of cool. So we're doing the Pot at the Palace at, keep wanting to call it Chop House. It's not Chop House. It's Chop Sports Victory Park. It's just right next to the arena, folks. So as soon as the game ends, we're going to be there. So come hang out with us. But I've had quite a few people reach out, DM, and say, hey, you guys going to be at the game? Or, hey, I'm going to be at the game. You guys going out anyway? So I think it'll be a really, not surprising because it's in Dallas, but it'll be a really, really great crowd, I think.
Well, and I have no idea if or how this would work. Me and Andrew were talking about it on air yesterday, but if there were a decent amount of people who came out while we were doing the post game, we could almost add like the Coach Z element from like Sassy's or whatever. Like, oh, so somebody who's watching us for, hanging out, they're at Chop Sports Victory Park. We might hand you a mic and let you ask a question or something. We might do a sobriety test first to make sure you don't get us canceled or whatever. But I don't know. There could be some opportunities there. We'll see.
Yeah, I think so.
We're not going to know until we get there because we can't even get in there and set up until right before we start. Like, we won't know the lay of the land or anything until it's almost go time. So we'll be scrambling a little bit. It's going to be fun, though.
You know what? That sounds like a great job for intern Presley, who's going to be down there and that we're going to meet for the first time in person. So
it does sound like a great job for intern Presley.
Yeah. So she's, cause that's just funny. Cause somebody reached out to me. This is like, if we're all going down there and, no, it was somebody asking me about like, our seats and stuff. I was like, yeah, we got 4 seats. I was like, for us 3. And I was like, an intern Presley was like, yeah, I was like, I've never met her in person before. It's like, she's an intern. So that's just the way of the world nowadays. You don't have to do something like that. So yeah, if we decide to do that and get the microphone out there, we'll just have her, use her discretion. And then if she does a poor job and lets some drunk jerk like one of you out there on there and says something horrible, she's fired. So we'll do that.
We'll only do it if there's a win.
Yeah, if it's a loss, we're doing that show. We're being like, it sucks, and then we're gonna bounce out.
Getting our butts back to Fayetteville.
Yeah, let's just hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope it's a great win because Saturdays have not been fun very often. Because the Louisville game was that a Saturday?
It was a Wednesday night.
That's right, it's a Wednesday night. So yeah, we need a good Razorback Saturday.
Yeah,
it's been so long since.
Seems like a good one to me.
Yeah, this would be a good start for it. Okay, a few more here. Addison says it's not about the free throws; it's about sending a message.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, we were talking earlier about like Big Elmer putting a hurting on JT Toppin, and I was just saying nothing annoys me more than guys who get and ones in the post because you slap them on the wrist or whatever. Because like most big men can't shoot free throws, and JT Toppin, he's great. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. He's a first team All-American, but he's like a 50% free throw shooter. So foul the hell out of that dude. Send him to the line. No easy ones. I don't want Trevin, thumping him on the elbow and he's getting a bunch of and ones. Like, make that dude feel it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Well, Curtis, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for what's been a fun show, needless to say, or at least the half of the one that I was here for?
Yeah, well, I appreciate everybody for hanging out with us the last couple of days. I'm glad things are getting back to normal a little bit. It's good to see John back here, and hope you're enjoying getting settled into your new place there. But yeah, appreciate everybody. Keep watching the Pot at the Palace and hanging out with us here on Inside Arkansas Live. And yeah, for sure, if you were out there in Dallas for the game on Saturday, then make sure you come hang out with us afterwards. It's gonna be a good time.
Absolutely, can't wait to have it happen. And again, yeah, we'll be out there for that. So also a reminder, folks, that on tomorrow's show, we're going to be giving away our 2 gift cards to Blue Ember. For 2 $100 gift cards. And for those of you who have yet to sign up, we have a ton of people that signed up, so it's going to be a great drawing. But go to InsideArkansas.com. You'll see the giveaways there. You just click on that, fill out the form, and you'll have a chance to win. We'll do the giveaway tomorrow during Inside Arkansas Live. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson and intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.